Okay, Tulsi, here you go, putting out a statement that you're quitting the Democratic Party. Much respect, but come on. Everybody was waiting for this moment. We knew it was coming. Republicans, conservative, libertarian, liberal, Democrat, progressive, whatever. Everyone knew this day was inevitable. And I respect it. Mad respect. Welcome to the ranks of those who are outright calling out the Democratic Party. It took Tulsi a little while longer to do it, but I can respect it because, you know, I think that for a while she was trying to at least latch on and prevent the insanity from spreading too far. But sorry, the Democratic Party has just gone too insane. And they've lost the likes of Tulsi Gabbard. Now, I think most people recognize that Tulsi now occupies a similar space to, say, someone like Jimmy Dore, somebody like me, and somebody like Dave Rubin. Now, to varying degrees, those three people I just named, we have very different politics. You know, Jimmy Dore is actually still rather leftist on a lot of issues, anti-establishment. I'm fairly moderate, libertarian, anti-establishment. And Dave Rubin has, I think he's even said this, he's more of a right libertarian now. So I'm glad to see it. Glad to see Tulsi Gabbard make the announcement that she can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party. But in a short video, she explains it. Let's hear from her. And then we'll talk about why the Democratic Party is something you should consider leaving too. I've got several stories about how the Democratic Party is the party of the wealthy ultra elites, ranging from conservative, moderate to socialist, all saying the same thing. And that's my point. When Jimmy Dore can say it, when I can say it, when Rubin can say it, and now Tulsi Gabbard, who ran for president as a Democrat, comes out and says it, wake up call. Maybe this is the kind of video that you need to share with your friends and your family when they tell you that they're Democrats or Republicans are bad or whatever. Fine. I don't care about Republicans. I think they're awful. Lindsey Graham is the worst. But listen to what Tulsi has to say. And let me show you some of the stories from leftist, moderate, and conservative sources. It is political spectrum unanimity. Here's what Tulsi Gabbard posted on Twitter.
I can no longer remain in today's Democratic Party that's under the complete control of an elitist cabal of warmongers who are driven by cowardly wokeness, who divide us by racializing every issue and stoking anti-white racism, who actively work to undermine our God-given freedoms that are enshrined in our Constitution, who are hostile to people of faith and spirituality, who demonize the police but protect criminals at the expense of law-abiding Americans, who believe in open borders, who weaponize the national security state to go after their political opponents, and above all, who are dragging us ever closer to nuclear war. Now, I believe in a government that's of the people, by the people, and for the people. Unfortunately, today's Democratic Party does not. Instead, it stands for a government that is of, by, and for the powerful elite. Now, I'm calling on my fellow common sense, independent-minded Democrats to join me in leaving the Democratic Party. If you can no longer stomach the direction that the so-called woke Democratic Party ideologues are taking our country, then I invite you to join me.
I think Tulsi should have done this a long time ago. Her voice was needed a long time ago. And I'll explain why. After the past several years, we've seen Tulsi, I think she was a guest host on The Five before, Fox News. She's appeared several times on Tucker Carlson's show. And the perception among Democrats is that she's not a Democrat. They're all cheering, tweeting good riddance at her. Imagine what would have happened if, I don't know, say in 2019 or 2020, Tulsi came out and said, I won't do this. Imagine if she came out right before the 2020 election. Imagine if she came out right before. I mean, didn't she endorse Joe Biden? Didn't she back Biden? I'm pretty sure she did. Maybe I'm wrong. She should have backed Trump. You see, this is what happens. Look, I like Tulsi. I supported her in her presidential bid. She's got military experience. She's a major in the National Guard. I think she was one of the few sane Democrats that held on for a long time. I can respect that. But I feel like if she came out and spoke out against Joe Biden, we would not be in this mess. Now, I'm not saying it is all Tulsi Gabbard's fault or anything like that. No. I'm a big fan, actually. Met her recently in New York, contributed to her campaigns. I'm just saying this may be too little too late. No. Look, don't get me wrong. It's good that she's coming out and saying this, but it's at a point where nobody actually thinks she was a part of the Democratic Party anyway. She's completely right, mind you. I'm just saying that if she came out in 2020 and said, I can no longer be a part of the Democratic Party, Joe Biden is a warmonger. He was a warmonger for the past 50 years. He was a warmonger under Barack Obama, and he will be a warmonger. And despite all of Trump's problems, look, Tulsi Gabbard, she was the candidate of the regime change war opposition. That was her line. That was when she would go on TV during the debates. She would say, we must stop regime change war. And I'm like, here. You see, I'm doing for those that are listening, you can't see, I'm doing the sparkle hands. That's the far leftist way of applauding without making noise. So I'm like, yes, I agree. Foreign policy is one of the biggest issues for me. The U.S. hasn't justified why it's going and blowing people up, why we're wasting billions of dollars in Ukraine because Russia invaded Ukraine. It sucks. I hate it. I like Ukraine. I think Russia's stupid. I think Russia's, I should say this, the Russian government, Vladimir Putin, what they did was wrong. I think the country's actually really cool. I think the people are great. And that's what it tends to be like, right? The people of the country tend to be cool people to varying degrees. And then you get government leadership. So anyway, look, I wish Putin did not invade Ukraine. But Ukraine's not a NATO member state. They're not an EU member state, soon to be, perhaps. So why are we investing so much in backing them? It makes no sense. Because I guess the United States is the world police. It's one of the reasons I really like the message of Tulsi Gabbard. But come on, Tulsi. You know, with all due respect, you knew who Joe Biden was. Now, I'm not going to pretend to know why you decided to do the announcement today. I'm glad. It's a net positive. But I just want to say, hindsight being 2020, the impact you could have had if you did this in 2020, if Trump won in 2020, I think Tulsi could have helped swing that. If she came out and said, do not vote for these Democrats, Joe Biden will start wars. And he did. He botched and surrendered Afghanistan. Look, I didn't like that we were in Afghanistan in the first place, but we could have exited properly to prevent war. That's the point. The way Joe Biden did it, abandoning Bagram Air Force Base in the middle of the night so that looters come and take it over, cutting off all support to the Afghan security forces, that was making more war. Trump was right. Let's get out. And what happens instead? We shift everything into Ukraine, more war, troops back in Syria, more war. And now we're facing the prospect of World War III. Come on. Look, maybe I should just sit back and be like, yay, Tulsi, good job. Because it's a net positive. I want to stress that for the millionth time. And I'm a fan. But I just wish that Tulsi came out in 2020 and said, do not vote for Joe Biden. Let me show you something. When you search Twitter for good riddance, what do you get? No joke. You search Twitter for good riddance. Now it says, now it's me, but you could see for a second there. It was Tulsi Gabbard. Actually, now it shows me with the tweet. You search Twitter for good riddance, and it's Tulsi Gabbard saying, I'm quitting the Democratic Party. And here's everything you get. Brooklyn Dad Defiant, a cult member, says, LMAO, you left the Democratic Party a long time ago. Bye, Felicia. Good riddance. Here's someone tweeting, good riddance, good riddance, good riddance, good riddance. Well, let me pull up Tulsi Gabbard's tweet and see what we got here. Tulsi goes on to mention, she has all of her... everything she said in the tweet, she's in the video she's tweeted out, and she has a link to her YouTube show. I think she's launching a new show. One person said, I was with you until you turned out to be a Russian government apologist. It was coming. People with values are always alone. Hey, there you go, man. Someone said values. This is videos of Tulsi Gabbard shooting guns. I'm down for that. Katie S. Fang, wait, you were a Democrat? Sure could have fooled me. Yeah, it's right. Someone with principle who opposes war. All right. Now, many of you may be saying this. My family doesn't want to hear it. They don't believe it. They don't care. They think Tulsi is bad. Okay. Here's what I see. I saw this video. I think it was Dropkick Murphys. And they were like, the Republicans just want to lower taxes for the rich. Bro, imagine reading the news. Imagine knowing things. Dropkick Murphys. I think it was Dropkick Murphys. If it wasn't, I apologize. They had that one song I remember when I was a kid, but a lot of people really like them. But look, the Washington Examiner. Further evidence that Democrats have become the party of the rich by Con Carroll, commentary editor, July 27th, 2022. Now, of course, I can already hear all of your Democrat relatives. That's a conservative Republican paper. Of course, they're okay. All right. Well, how about a centrist thing? Unheard. Unheard is moderate centrist. how the Democrats became the party of the rich. The working class is excluded from its agenda. And I can already hear people saying, yes, but of course, anybody who's claiming to be a centrist is actually a fascist, the enlightened centrist. We know that they're secretly siding with fascists. Okay, how about Jacobin? Surely the socialist website of Jacobin. Writing, July 2022, the Democratic base keeps getting richer and whiter. Surely now, these suburban Democrat voters will be like, okay, well, maybe it is the party of the rich. Maybe when the progressive left is saying the Democratic base is richer and whiter. Okay, maybe it's still not enough. Maybe you've shown this video to a friend and they're Democrat and they're voting and they're like, these far leftists, they just hate the Democrats. Okay, how about establishment Democratic NBC funded Vox.com? Democrats are replacing Republicans as the preferred party of the very wealthy. Cackling old Hillary Clinton. Tell me now, how could everyone be wrong? What's that? You smell crap everywhere? Have you checked your boot? The conservatives are saying it. The moderates are saying it. The far left is saying it. And even the establishment Democrat websites themselves are saying it. Democrats are the party of the rich, the elites, and you know it, the warmongers. But embrace it, grasp it, and hold it deep within your bosom if you support a cabal of warmongering elites who don't care about you. Keep voting for them. You only got a few more weeks. Early voting's kicking up soon. It's all yours, baby. I have shown it to you. It is right in your face. Everyone across the political spectrum agrees. The Democrats are the party of the wealthy elites. And if that's what you're all about, please just own it. Shout out to our good friend Hassan Piker. Really a great example. It's funny. Hassan. He's one of the most prominent streamers, the most prominent leftist streamer. More power to him. There's been some rumors about his projected revenue, somewhat in millions of dollars per year. I think it's like 5 million. Maybe it's more than that. Maybe he's getting way more than that. Hassan. He lives in Los Angeles, my understanding, in a multi-million-dollar house, very expensive. He's got a very nice vehicles, I hear. He lives very well. And a video went viral where a fan walked up to him and was asking some questions and then asked him about a viral internet meme. Sam Hyde calling him out. And Hassan gets in his face and starts calling him out. Dude says, chill. Hassan is like, got 2 feet on the guy. And I saw that video and I'm just like, that's so crazy to me. How could you be a fan of someone like that? It's just the weirdest thing. Every single time someone comes up to me in public saying anything, it's like, hey, man, what was your name? Nice to meet you. You fist bump. Me and Luke, we were hanging out. We were getting dinner at the steakhouse at the casino. Somebody came up to us this past weekend, said, I really appreciate your work. Guys, ask some questions, answer them. Somebody came up to me and said something like, why won't you debate, personality figure? I'll tell them exactly why. I don't go, why do you keep trying to tell me to debate? I'm just like, oh, I don't know. There you go. I thought about it. I thought about it a lot. And I think Hassan is the perfect example of exactly what this is. Hassan is a faux leftist. And I'm not trying to drag the guy, but he is a really good example of exactly what I'm laying out. He's a guy who talks about being anti-establishment and a socialist and all that, makes a bunch of money, and then goes and lives in a big mansion in Los Angeles or whatever. I think it's like a $5 million house, something. And then when he gets called out by actual socialists, he's like, dude's not allowed to have a house. Like, you're not allowed to live anywhere. And it's like, bro, you don't have to buy a $5 million mansion or whatever the cost is, multi-million-dollar mansion. Me personally, my house. So I'll full disclosure, I actually own multiple properties. I'm not going to pretend to be a socialist. I'm not. I am a capitalist, leaning slightly left, and I put my money where my mouth is. I don't get in the face of fans who come up to me and ask me questions. That's just weird. But you know what? I can pause and say, okay, fine. Maybe he's having a bad day. Fine. It's a bad video. It was just one video. I'll give him that one. But I thought to myself, why doesn't he go live somewhere cheaper Why doesn't he start building the things he actually proposes? Why doesn't he use his money for something more than just himself? There's a lot of people like that. There's a lot of people on the right and libertarians and moderates who are like that. It's not unique to him. But it is something we are seeing more and more among the Democratic Party. They lie to people, they keep them in the dark, and they make money off it. They call us the grifters because they have to. That Lauren Boebert tweet really, really does. It's a grand slam. You may have seen it. She said 2 words, let's go Brandon. And all of these prominent left personalities started going insane. Started saying she's dumb, she can't count. And why is that? Do they really not know that Joe Biden said, let me start with 2 words, made in America? She was mocking Joe Biden. That shows you 2 things. Either these prominent left personalities know they're lying, or they don't actually know what they're talking about. And I think it's probably both to varying degrees. So here's my point. I wonder why it is you get these prominent personalities, and I don't care if it's just Hassan, but it is, prominent among Democrats who just use their money for power. Now, to be fair, a lot of what they do with their money is in furtherance of their power, but it is through activist means. That I'm not surprised about. Hassan says that he gives money to charities and stuff. He doesn't talk about it. And I'm like, talk about it, bro. Tell people what you're supporting and what you're building. Some people say, yeah, Tim, I get these comments like, you have $1 million skate mansion. I'm like, yeah, it's 12,000 square feet and we have 30 employees. And not every employee is in this building. To varying degrees, we have people coming and going from the building, and we are relocating to West Virginia. In fact, I think half the staff, a little bit more than that, is probably already officially reporting to West Virginia. Although I don't know, it's complicated. I don't have a mansion in some city, a very expensive house, just because I can afford it. I've actually gotten away from the cities because I actually say what I think is true and correct. That it's dangerous to be in cities. Crime is skyrocketing and bad place to be. I've had people offer to pay me lots of money if I'm relocated to certain areas, and I'm just like, I'm not doing it. I'm going to do my own thing in the middle of nowhere at Freedomistan with 50 acres. We're going to get chickens and goats. I'm going to mind my own business, and I'm going to talk about it. I talk about how I feel and what I do. Tulsi Gabbard, I got tremendous respect for because she's coming out and she's calling it out. I think if you look at the prominent personalities of the left, you can see exactly what they represent. They will tell you, but they won't act in such a way. They will say, hey, I oppose war, but then they'll vote for Joe Biden. It's remarkable. Well, but Trump is a fascist. Are you pro-war or are you not pro-war? But Trump is just so bad he's corrupt. So is Joe Biden. Are you lying about it or are you ignorant to it? Fine. Whatever it is, own it. That's it. If you're in favor of it, just own it. Joe Biden's a warmonger. He's starting more wars. Trump didn't start wars. Own it. By all means, I will outright tell you that Donald Trump is a lewd and lascivious old man, that I think he's got a terrible personality. All true. I think in a lot of ways you can praise the guy. I've heard stories of him being very generous. I know someone once told me a story about how Trump just tossed him an iPod for holding a door open for him. One story about the people at Trump Tower say that he would come down and hand out $100 bills to everybody. I hear a lot of those stories. I think in a lot of ways Trump has conviction and there are things to compliment him on. That's fine. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend Trump's a perfect guy. I think he's got a bad attitude, and I think that costs him a lot. I heard it over and over again. I got no problem owning that and saying I'm still willing to vote for it, despite the fact that I don't like it. Because Joe Biden is a murderer. He's a murderer. That's what he is. It was the Obama administration that was blowing up civilians that killed Anwar al-Awlaki and Abdulrahman al-Awlaki, and we know it. Joe Biden was right there along with them. It is a regime of murder. Tulsi Gabbard could have come out and said, do not vote for this man. So I can respect her coming out. Again, I'm a fan, but I'm going to call it like I see it. And that's my point, too. Even though I did contribute to Tulsi, even though I am a fan, I still think that she needs to be criticized for that. And I think most people would agree. I think there's a tremendous opportunity to stand by your convictions and stop this from getting to the point where it is now. We're 2 years in. Well, almost 2 years in. And Joe Biden did exactly what I knew he would do. He has us on the precipice of World War III. Well, to be honest, I didn't think it would escalate that quickly. I just knew new wars would ignite immediately. And I just think back, hindsight being 2020, to all of these people. Could you not have just said something? The economy is in the crapper. The market's now lower than where it was before Biden took over. Vladimir Putin is threatening nuclear weapons, and Joe Biden is dancing along with it like some crackpot old demented man, sending more and more money to the war front. For what cause? I don't know. Nuclear annihilation, I suppose. So I will say it one more time. I have shown you a conservative outlet, a moderate outlet, a leftist socialist outlet, and even the Democrat establishment media all saying the same thing. The Democratic Party is the party of the wealthy and the white. And if you support that, please just own it. Tell me that you are all in for rich white people. I got no beef. You're allowed to have those opinions. Just be honest about it. You don't care about war, and you don't care that cackling scumbags like Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and people like Barack Obama are in charge of this disgusting machine. Blown up kids. Yeah, that was the question. Does the office corrupt? Or the question, I guess, is, did Barack Obama lie about not wanting to blow up kids? And then when he got in office, he was convinced to? Or did he always want to blow up kids? That's the question I have. Trump's no saint either. But I will take anything other than this at this point. You can come up with all your insane made-up reasons as to why you think that Donald Trump is corrupt. Fine. But if the United States has to suffer under someone like Trump because you think he's corrupt, but it means no war, I will take it. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.